Do you like the idea of being healthy each day? What if I told you that it's possible to be healthy just by reading one page of a book each day and doing what that page says? Healthy Living Every Day is a new book available on Amazon and Barnes& Noble that offers an array of alternative healing and preventive therapies. This book is the wellness blueprint that will help you live a happier and healthier life. Get your copy on Amazon or Barnes& Noble, or use one of the links in the show notes to get your copy as well. This book also happens to be my mom's very first book, so I'd love to see Breakthrough Success listeners grab their copy. Anyway, let's get right into the episode. What's up, Breakthrough Success listeners? Mark DeBerry, the podcasting coach here, helping people launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like there's more that you could be doing? Do you feel like you have the life that you want? And I feel like regardless of where we are all at, there are different things that, we kind of want to check those boxes off and feel like we're living the life that we want to live. And part of that is being able to do what you love and make money in the process. So if you're interested in making money, doing what you love, and living that ideal life that you have set for yourself, you are going to love this episode. Our guest who joins us today, she's been providing spiritual workshops and intuitive energy healing facilitation private sessions for over 15 years, as well as being a frequent speaker at metaphysical conferences. Our guest helps spiritual seekers and teachers, energy healers, and intuitives to take their abilities to the next level. Her passion is to teach people how to attain spiritual mastery this lifetime and to inspire them on their path. So our guest who joins us for this episode is none other than Kim Chiarello. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. It's lovely to be here.
Kim, I'm so happy to have you on the Breakthrough Success podcast and radio show. And I feel like this idea of really thinking about what we want in our lives and being able to do money what we love is so important. So I'm wondering if you could share with us, how do we get clear on living that life that we want to live? And how are you able to get clear on that for your own life?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really great question. So, so many of us have influences from family, from friends, from society about what we should do, what we should like. And it's super important to get clear on what actually inspires me, what's meaningful for me. And that, of course, is the first step. And for a lot of people, we live in the life of shoulds, right? We should do this, we should be this. And it's really hard to go, what do I really want? So a good first step is actually talking to people who knew you when you were a child. And what did you love to do? Right? A lot of times as children, it was like, well, I really love to draw, or I always would create stories, or I would put on plays for the family, right? And it's learning, those are some of your innate gifts and things that you really loved to do. And that can give you some insights into that passion that you might have.
That's a really great point. And just hearing your answer and just like thinking from my personal level, it kind of connects dots for me because I've always loved math. And I recently started doing dividend investing YouTube videos. I added that segment to my YouTube channel. And now hearing what you said and thinking back to myself, it makes sense. So I feel like some people, like, they may think like when they were a child, it's such a long time ago. For me, it's not a long time ago relative to other people, but like just my example that I just mentioned, and Kim really be able to connect the dots for me with that part of my life. I feel like if you go back to your childhood and you figure out what you like, that could really help you fuel like what the work that you do and figure out what it really is that gives you the most joy and satisfaction.
Definitely. And a lot of us don't remember our childhood. That's why it's helpful to ask family and friends who knew us as children. An example for me was I went back to my mother and she said, you used to make such amazing drawings all the way from kindergarten through 8th grade. And she showed me some of them and I didn't even remember them. And when I was asking her, I was in my late 20s. So it wasn't that far away from that time frame, but I didn't remember, and I never thought I could draw well. And then I looked at it and I was like, wow, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard for us to maybe remember all the things we loved in childhood. And that's why it's helpful to reach out to people who knew us when we were children, because they'll pick up on things that we might have not have forgotten or not even realized. Right.
Yeah. And I do think that, I mean, there's things that we forget. And it is interesting. You mentioned the paintings. I've got the math, and that transitioned to dividend investing, which is still relatively new for me. Like the bigger focus, like you may know me from like content marketing, digital marketing, all that stuff. The dividends, like a side thing that could grow into something bigger. But people may be like, okay, like maybe my big thing was painting, or maybe my big thing was math. Maybe my big thing was like, you know, just like going outside all day because I'd love to be outside and stuff. I feel like people may figure out, or like they may see that, oh, wow, this was a passion of mine that I really care about. I forgot about it, but now thinking about it, I really care about it again. But then it's like, you know, some people have a job already. Other people, they're known as something else already. So how do we take this thing that we love and be able to turn it into revenue?
Exactly. Good question. Awesome question. Right. And I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not telling anyone to go quit your job tomorrow. Right. You still want to pay your bills. Right. And you want to have that, that plan. And definitely, so, you know, there's the saying, do what you love and the money will follow. And that's probably from the 60s. And a lot of people have found that not to be true. And the reason why, not always, and here's the missing piece. So it's you could have things in your subconscious and unconscious that are blocking you. So you could do your planning, you could do a vision board, and this is what I want, but you could have false beliefs in your subconscious and unconscious blocking you, like, I can't have fun and make money. I don't deserve to do what I love and make money. And so those are the big pieces of, oh, okay, one, I need to get clear on what I actually like. And is it okay if I give you an example?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So an example is a client of mine came to me and said, I want to change my career. I love writing. I love nonprofits, and I love traveling. I'm like, that's great. What does that look like? Right? That's very nebulous, right? So you want to get a focused vision. Even in businesses and in corporations, you have your 1-year plan, your 5-year plan, right? And it's very specific. So getting clear on, okay, I love to draw, but draw what? Draw cartoons, right? Draw illustrations for books. I don't know what else you know, draw art for art museums, right? I'm not sure, or draw art for businesses, their logos, right? Getting clear on the specific. And then the second step, I think I probably just said too much. So that would be the first step. And the second step is getting clear on, wow, there could be things in my subconscious and unconscious blocking me.
And I mean, I think it's a really great point where you want to get more clear on it. So like, for instance, like my case, again, like going back to the math, I mean, I've talked about dividend investing, and that's like the thing that I create videos on. I really enjoy creating those videos. I've only been doing it for a little bit, but a little bit as of the recording. Like when this comes out, there'll be more out there. But like even with marketing, like I love looking at like conversion rates. I love looking at, you know, how many visitors I get, how many turn into subscribers. I love looking at those kinds of numbers. So it's being like, you take this thing that you love, but you make it specific as to how you're going to apply it to your career and what career that looks like. Because if you love traveling, do you do a travel blog, or do you do reviews of places you would like to visit, or do you share like a bucket list or stories of, like, there's so many different things you could do in that one area you love. You just gotta find that sweet little subset that you love the most and you feel like it has a shot at generating the revenue you need.
Definitely. And if for some reason you love to travel, you could pair that with dividends. Is I'm going to travel around the world and teach people how to do this. Right? That would be a way to pair those two if those two are two passions of yours.
Yeah, I like the pairing of passions also because I feel like the more things you pair, the more it could also stand out, because I feel like a lot of people, they'll just pick one thing and go with that. But if you slip in a second or third thing, you combine them together into this one thing you're doing. It is a potential way to stand out. It depends on the different things that you choose to mesh together into this one big passion of yours that's going to generate revenue. One of the things I feel like we were talking a little bit about earlier was the money and the way we view money. And I feel like it's very important for us to get clear on money mindset. So I'm wondering, what is the, like, how can we strengthen our money mindset so we're able to attract the money that we know we should be earning?
Definitely. That's the question, right? And you hit the nail on the head there. So there's, I would say, two pieces. One is getting clear on what you really feel worthy of receiving. So we all say we'd love to win the lottery. We'd love to be a multi-millionaire, billionaire, but only you can answer for yourself. Do you feel worthy of that? Or do you have a belief that money corrupts? Do you have a belief that, yeah, all the people I see who've gotten rich, they're just not nice anymore? I don't want to do, therefore I don't want to do that. So you want to get clear on that. And there's a great exercise that actually can help you get clear on where that point is for you. I think I could briefly explain it here if you guys are interested.
Definitely.
Yeah? Okay. So this actually went around the internet years and years ago when it was just email and no social media, where you start on the first day, and it's just a pretend virtual game, and you can make this up for yourself. So on day one, you're given $50 virtual, and you need to write down what you would spend it on, and you need to spend it all that day, right? So not spend it in real life, but writing down what would I spend that $50 for, okay? And then on day two, that amount doubles. Now you have $100, you have to spend it today. What are you going to spend it on? Record what you're spending it on. And every day, the amount doubles, and every day you have to completely spend it all. Again, just a virtual game. And at some point, you get to a point of, I don't know what else to spend this money on. I just made $1 million today, and I don't know what to do with it. I've bought the house, I bought the car, I bought all my family houses and cars, and right, all the things you might want to do on your wish list. You get to a point of, I don't know what else to do with this money. That's whatever your internal, in your subconscious, unconscious limit is.
I really love that exercise because I feel like we just set this big money goal, but we don't really think about how much we need. I mean, they're like 6 figures is a big money goal. Some people, you don't need 6 figures to live the ideal lifestyle you want. Now, money does give choices, and you could go traveling a whole lot more. So if like traveling means a lot more to you, then you would want to make more money to afford those travels. But if travel is something that means nothing to you, it just depends on what you want. And Kim brings up this really great exercise where how much, like, what's the cap and like how much you would spend. And if you live like a minimalist kind of lifestyle, then you need less money that you actually need to spend to do all the things you want to do. Because I feel like you also want to be careful about how you spend your money. Like, you don't want to buy like the fanciest thing, like the car, or the fanciest clothing or whatever, because like cheap clothing does fine. It still covers your body. Like cheap cars still get you. A Lamborghini and a Toyota will both get you from your home to the grocery store. So definitely you want to think about how you're spending your money as well.
Definitely. So the point of this exercise is to get an insight into that subconscious, unconscious, where is my limit? And then at that point you can say, is that limit work for me and what I'm wanting with my life? If so, awesome. And if not, then it's time to start getting clear on some of those subconscious, unconscious beliefs that might be holding you back from the amount of income you're wanting to generate. And that's what I help people with. And it's making me think of an example of a client. Is that
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I had clients, husband and wife. They were both school teachers. So as we all know, unfortunately, in the United States, school teachers are very underpaid.
Yeah.
And they had applied for some federal loan to get help with their mortgage on their house, and got approved, and were paid like $10,000 to start. And then weeks into it, the government contacted them and said, we made a mistake. You're not eligible, and you need to repay that $10,000 in 2 weeks. And they're school teachers. They don't have $10,000 laying around.
Right.
Right. And they had little kids, right? And they were in a panic. How are we going to manifest this money? And they believed in law of attraction and doing vision boards, and they'd done some work themselves, and things weren't coming into form. So they reached out to me, and we had a session, and found some false beliefs. These in particular were from other lifetimes. I don't know whether people believe in that or not, but we can say it was in the subconscious and unconscious, and clear those out. And not only did they manifest $10,000 in 2 weeks, they actually decided they wanted to manifest $15,000 because they had some extra bills they wanted to pay off. And they did. They manifested $15,000 in 2 weeks.
And I'm assuming they got the 15,000?
Yes. Manifest meaning they got $15,000 coming into their home so that they could pay off this loan that they were now no longer eligible for, and for the extra bills.
Now, I am interested in this case study because I feel like it taps on something very important, where it's like, I manifest this thing to happen to me, but just by like saying I manifest this thing to happen to me doesn't make it happen. And there is a balance between, like, you don't want to like not say it, because then if you don't say it, you don't have like a thing you're aiming for. So like, how do we make these manifestations happen?
Yeah, thank you for that. Awesome question. So the first thing, right, is I can say I want to manifest that I can eat 5 hot fudge sundaes a day and not gain any weight. That's not going to happen. Unless maybe I'm going to the gym 24 hours a day. So first off, it has to be in alignment with the highest plan for yourself, for your inner self. Some people will say it's my inner self or my higher self. It has to be in alignment. And of course, having a hot fudge sundae is okay to have, right? But multiple, you're going to gain weight. So that's the first thing. So saying something like, in this, going back to my example, if the couple came to me and said, I want to manifest $1 million in 2 weeks, is that the highest plan that their higher self wanted for them? No. Maybe for some people, but for them, no. But what they were asking for was in alignment with what was the highest for them at that moment. That's the first piece. Is that making sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's like what you know makes the most sense for you, not like exaggerating the goal, but at the same time making it challenging.
Exactly. That was a stretch for them. I mean, manifesting getting $1,000 to come in through the door for them in 2 weeks would have been huge, right? So 15,000 was even more so. So that's the first thing. So a lot of people who try this law of attraction and manifesting and vision boards fail, well, I don't want to use the word fail. They don't feel they succeed because they've asked for the $1 million versus the 15,000. Right? Going back to this example, right? They're asking for something that the universe is saying, this is not the highest plan for you. So you're not going to get it. So that's the first step. And most people know what the highest is for them. Most people come through the door, or when we have video sessions, and I'll say, what's going on? And they'll tell me the problem. Like, what do you need to do? Most people kind of know, right? Not just saying I need to lose weight. Well, I probably should start exercising and looking at the food intake, right? and starting with some steps. So again, that first piece is, hey, is this the highest plan for me? And then if it is, now we get that clear vision, which we already talked about, being specific. Now, not so specific, like I've had clients who were wanting to bring in, manifest their life partner. And if you're saying, well, he has to be, 6 feet, 1 inch tall, right? And this color eyes and this color hair, that's getting super specific, right? You want to be specific about the values of the person. You want to be specific on the attributes of that person. Are they kind? Are they caring? Are they fun? Those types of things. So getting specific. And then the next step is then getting that clarity of, do I have any beliefs that are blocking me from allowing this to come into my life? Like we started on earlier, of any unworthiness or any beliefs that money corrupts or whatever it might be for the money. And let's let that go. And that's what I help teach people with. But most of your listeners probably know, right? When you're walking along, taking a walk outside in nature, or a lot of people have the shower epiphanies, right? It's when you're not doing and you can let that creativity come to you that you go, oh yeah, that's what's blocking me. I didn't I know money doesn't corrupt, but I kind of feel like it does. How's that resonating?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of getting super specific, but in the sense where like super specific on the things that matter. So like maybe like the eye color isn't perfect, but the person's kind. And I feel like you could relate that to business also, where maybe it's, like maybe you don't set like this super high goal that you feel overwhelmed about. You set something a little like within your range, and then you can build up from there. So being specific in the right areas, I feel like is something very important for people in the manifestation stage. And another thing really important, I would recommend everyone listening who wants to figure out how they can manifest and how they can make all those manifestations come true to make money doing what they love and have their ideal lifestyle. I'd recommend you check out Kim's work. So I'm wondering, where are some good places we could go to find more about what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. Well, right now the best place is my website, which is bethechangenow.com. And that's, I think, the link into all of my blog and my YouTube channel that is not having too many videos at the moment, and my Twitter account. So yeah, that would be great. And also, of course, if people want to have a chat with me, have some questions, I'm definitely open to offering to your listeners a free initial consultation, a 20-minute, that we can chat and get to see how maybe we can help out.
Well, Kim, those are some great resources. We'll throw those in the show notes. We'll also throw in some other info there as well for people who want to schedule a strategy call with me around podcasting/YouTube, and also the retreat I'm doing in Florida for authors who want to learn how to make six figures with their books. But once again, Kim, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was such a pleasure having you on Breakthrough Success.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it.